Top of the morning and happy Easter, Washington Commanders Nation. As usual, it's your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about our Washington Commanders. Today is Easter. It is the final day of March, and we are now in the home stretch of the NFL offseason. We are now on one linear, straightforward path towards the NFL draft and the conclusion of the 2024 offseason. An offseason that us Washington fans were counting down the days to since around October. Like, you know how humbling it is as a Washington fan to be looking forward to coach firings, free agency, and the draft before Halloween. Like, before you can even go out and trick or treat with your children, your football season is already finito. That's how it's felt being a Washington fan for quite some time, but especially in 2023 when the floor absolutely bottomed out on this franchise. And that was despite starting 2-0 for the first time in over a decade. But what happened was what needed to be done. And I thank Ron Rivera and crew for finishing the way it needed to go. That 2023 season, it had hope, but my expectation, my wish list, my one thing that I begged for out of the 2023 football season was that Washington either be good or be trash. Like, I needed no in between, no middling, purgatory, stuck in the middle bullshit script that Ron has put down since he got to Washington. I needed us to be a playoff team or to pick number one or number two in the NFL draft. And what happened? We went 4-13, losing our last 8 games, and we ended up with the second overall pick in the NFL draft. A pick, a selection that is going to shift and be the main character of how Washington's rebuild and recalibration goes forward in 2024 and beyond. Let's jump forward to January, where we immediately fired Ron when the season ended. And before you could blink or get out of your chair, we were interviewing guys for the GM position, and we were requesting interviews for the head coaching position. We ended up shuffling the deck in the front office, bringing in Adam Peters from San Francisco and assistant general manager Lance Newmark from the Detroit Lions. They ended up hiring Dan Quinn, and Dan Quinn has flexed his muscle and cachet of connections that he has league wide, and he's put together quite the coaching staff, offensive staff that includes Cliff Kingsbury, assistant quarterbacks coach David Blau, who we know recently to be a backup quarterback in the league, off Andre Coleman. Bobby Ingram stays on staff, Bobby Johnson from the Giants, Brian Johnson from the Eagles, Anthony Lynn, former head coach, Tavita Pritchard stays on board as the QB coach, David Ray, Darnell Stapleton, Shane Tube. On defense, Joe Witt Jr. is running the show, the guy who ran the secondary in Dallas and is Dan Quinn's main man. He's been with him at Atlanta, in Dallas, now in Washington. George Benko, Tommy Donatel, Sharif Floyd, William Gay, Ryan Kerrigan stays on staff, Ken Norton Jr., John Pagano, Jason Simmons, Daryl Tapp, Sarah Hogan, Pete O'Hennigan. They hired an entire coaching staff that was probably the most impressive staff put together thus far during the offseason, but none of it, all of it's on paper. We don't know what it's going to be until we see it play out on a football field on Sundays to come in the fall. But it's a coaching staff that includes a lot of former players. There's older guys, there's younger guys, there's former head coaches on the staff. There are a bunch of former coordinators. There are a bunch of coaching connections and bloodlines that are trusted throughout the league. Most would say Washington knocked it out the park collectively in their hiring of coaches. Fast forward, so we got the front office in the tuck. We got the coaching staff done. Then we traded Sam Howell to the Seattle Seahawks, and Washington now sits with 6 top 100 picks in the NFL draft, 9 selections overall. We move forward to the end of February. We have the NFL scouting combine. Peters and Quinn, everywhere you see these guys, you see people speak of their name with reverence, with respect. Everything about the current outfit of Washington football feels different than the last 25 years. Ultimately, these guys will be judged and determined on wins, losses, because it's a results driven league in business. It can be a little cutthroat, it can be very unfair at times, but ultimately you will be judged on your hit rate in the draft, hit rate as far as acquisitions, trading, or free agency, and what happens on Sunday. Wins, losses, did you get a quarterback? Because without one of those bad boys, you have no chance to succeed in this league. We move forward to March. The new league year kicks in, and Washington goes through 24 acquisitions. We lose 9 players to other teams in free agency, and we sign contracts with 24 guys, including guys that we kept on the roster. We kept a handful of guys, and we went out and outsourced 19 free agencies on the open market. We signed Zach Ertz, tight end, to a 1-year deal. Dorrance Armstrong, edge rusher, 3 years. Center Tyler Biadasz, 3 years. Linebacker Frankie Louvu, 3 years. Austin Eckler, 2 years. Kicker Brandon McManus, Nick Allegretti, Clayton Farrell, Marcus Mariota, Dante Fowler, Tyler Ott, Jeremy Chin, Jeremy Reeves, Bobby Wagner, Jamison Crowder, Anthony Pittman, F.A. Obata, Noah Igbenogany, Michael Davis, Cornelius Lucas, James Pierre, Michael Dieter, and Alameda Zacchaeus a couple days ago. I'd like to say peace and best of luck on your endeavors elsewhere to Antonio Gibson and Brissett, who are now New England Patriots, Sadiq Charles, who's now a Tennessee Titan, Kendall Fuller, who is now a Miami Dolphins, Curtis Samuel, Kurt Coe, ball out in Buffalo, and Cam Bam Curl, friend of the show, is out in LA as a Ram. Cody Barton to the Broncos, nobody's gonna miss him. Joey Sly to the Jags, no one's gonna miss him either. And Casey Toohill, hope you ball out in Buffalo. He took the Trent Murphy route of being former Washington edge rusher turned Buffalo Bill. Best of luck to all of your endeavors. The free agency period has never been that active for Washington. And yes, we've seen this franchise be active in free agency before. We remember the laundry list shopping, the reckless spending off seasons of Vinny Serrato and Dan Snyder, the fire up Redskins one, don't let guys get off the plane, hold them hostage until they sign the contract days of Washington football. Those days are long gone. We have pragmatic, business savvy individuals running the franchise now, and you know the offseason is starting to come to a close when it's draft month. Tomorrow is April 1st. Tomorrow marks the start of NFL draft month. Unlike other sports leagues, everything in the National Football League is made quite the spectacle. Everything is a big deal, from the draft, the combine, the schedule release, the preseason. Everything you can think of is a spectacle in the league. They're even taking Christmas from the NBA, where we'll be seeing an NFL game on Christmas Day every day going forward now, and Black Friday. They're taking away cachet from basketball. They're taking it away from Black Friday. They're taking it away from shopping. The NFL is trying to be like Disney. They're trying to be the ultimate monopoly. They're trying to rule all things in their quest for world domination. But we're 26 days, 25 days away from the NFL draft. And the draft starts with Washington. We know what's happening at number 1. Chicago's taking Caleb Williams. Washington's decision of which quarterback they're going to take is going to be the first huge storyline of the NFL draft. And as we sit here, and while it's fun for shits and giggles and debates on Twitter and YouTube, in comments and on social media alike, nobody knows what this team's going to do. If you've noticed how Adam Peters and company move, how they maneuver through this NFL thing, they're not showing their hand. If we still had Ron and company running the show here, we would already know exactly who the pick is. Ron would have spelled it out on a silver platter for media, for fans, for anyone who puts a microphone in his general location. He would just describe everything about the person he plans on taking. They recorded a whole thing last year. They knew they wanted Emmanuel Forbes. They were so stubborn about how they wanted Emmanuel Forbes. They didn't care how the board shook out. They wanted Emmanuel Forbes. They were going to pick Emmanuel Forbes at 16. Let's see how the new staff can get Emmanuel Forbes and our other first round pick, Jahan Dotson, going, because we had a shit luck of first round pick. First rounders are supposed to be the one round you're supposed to get a sure thing in. And in Ron's time in Washington, Chase Young, Jamin Davis, Jahan Dotson, and Emmanuel Forbes were our first round picks. Not a bona fide playmaker, star, or fixture out of that list. That must change going forward. But the first 3 nights of this upcoming NFL draft has a lot of excitement for Washington. And honestly, day 2 is going to be more exciting than day 1 for Washington, because Washington has a slotted 5 picks on day 2 of the draft. So between rounds 2 and 3, we have picks number 36 and 40, 2 in the second round, and we have 3 in the third round. We're going to be absolutely active on night 2 of the draft. Will we have 5 picks? We'll see, because Washington has done enough in free agency that they can aggressively pursue the draft. So if we take a quarterback at 2, which we're going to take a quarterback at 2, we could easily slide back up the board in the late teens, early 20s, or late 20s to get the tackle of our choice, so we could pair our quarterback with his protector and put them on a linear 5-year contract together, put them on the same timeline as the coach and the GM moving forward. Washington has the world at its oyster based on how they've handled the offseason. And we're now at the point of the offseason where we know exactly what the offseason looks like. The draft party was announced. If you weren't able to go last year, definitely go this year. It'll be Saturday, April 27th at 11 a.m. at the National Harbor Waterfront. That was Saturday, April 27th. So day 3, the final 4 through 7 rounds of the NFL draft will be shown on a big ass screen at the waterfront on National Harbor. I was able to be blessed to go to the draft party last year. I don't think I'm going to be out there this year. I'm a RSVP a ticket just in case something changes, but I'll probably be with the boys because we're going to get together for like the entire draft this year. But last year, they were giving out awesome reversible bucket hats. There was only like 250, so get there early. Bucket hats, pins, and all kinds of stuff. It was the first really good event I felt like the team had thrown in years, and it'll be even better because the team is not owned by Dan Snyder anymore. Last year's draft party, the dweeb was still in ownership of this team, so expect it to be 10 times better. If I can go, I will go. There will probably be cool giveaways. There will be alumni, legends, and current players walking around. Last year, Jonathan Allen, Jahan Dotson, there were guys just walking around and you could see them. Emmanuel Forbes was out there shaking hands, kissing babies, politicking and whatnot. Maybe, just maybe, our first round pick quarterback comes to the draft party. I'm not sure, because the star power of a quarterback, the cachet of a franchise quarterback to be, may be a little too much star power for players just walking around the waterfront of National Harbor. Not sure that's going to be the case. I'll update you when I find out more, but the draft party is going to be fire. It was fire last year. If I can get out there, I'm going to get out there and get a vlog for the fans who are not able to make it, but that was announced. And then Washington's offseason dates, OTAs, practices, mini camps, we got that list as well. So this Tuesday, April 2nd, shout out to my son, by the way, little Mario. He will be turning 13 that day. Shout out to my boy. That is the first day of off-season workouts. They can hit the weight room and start conditioning as a team. Voluntary, those voluntary workouts that guys like Chase Young never came to, those start on Tuesday, April 2nd. Shout out to my son. Voluntary mini camp. So once again, not mandatory, voluntary mini camp starts April 22nd through the 24th. So the 3 days before the NFL draft starts is the first voluntary mini camp. It'll be the first time we see guys running around with helmets and shirts on and jerseys on and shit. It's going to be exciting. The first time we see the staff together with the players on the field and stuff. They haven't posted the date for rookie mini camp, but I imagine it's going to be somewhere in the first and second week of May. So a week or two after the players get drafted at the end of April, I imagine rookie mini camp is going to be slotted in there at some point. OTA offseason workouts, May 14th and May 15th, May 17th, May 21st and 22nd, May 24th, June 4th through the 5th, and then June 7th. And our mandatory mini camp is between June 11th and June 13th, which will then lead us to our final thing of the offseason, training camp. That'll be the end of July, and Washington is expected to do joint practices with the Baltimore Ravens again moving forward. That seems like a relationship we're trying to keep going over the years, especially with the new staff here. Very likable guys. Easy to see why they want to keep that communication and relationship active going forward. But we're here. We've made it to the home stretch of the offseason, y'all. We have made it. Oh, also, NFL schedule release show is coming out May 9th. We're going to know exactly when and where Washington play. Well, we know the where, but we're going to know exactly when Washington's games, we over analyze, we start making schedule, we record predictions, and we start doing the absolute most when that schedule comes out. Because like I said, everything is everything's a spectacle in the NFL. But the vibe. We already know who Washington plays in 2024. Just in case you don't know, Washington's away opponents, obviously the division, Dallas Giants and Eagles. We go to Baltimore, we go to New Orleans, we go to Arizona, we go to Cincy, and we go to Tampa Bay. Our home opponents, Chicago. So we got Caleb Williams coming to town, Bryce Young and the Panthers, Kirk Cousins and the Falcons, Russell Wilson or Fields in the Steelers, Massage Man, Nasty Boy, Deshaun Watson comes to town. I need us to kill them when they come to town, because I will never forget that Browns game that eliminated us from the playoffs that Ron didn't know existed a couple seasons ago. And then we got the Titans. So just to throw that out there one more time. At home, we're hosting the Bears, Panthers, Falcons, Steelers, Browns, and Titans. And we go on the road to Baltimore, New Orleans, Arizona, Cincinnati, and Tampa Bay. Schedule release is coming out, I believe, May 9th or May 10th. We know the dates of the offseason, and the start of the NFL draft is April 25th through the 27th. I'm excited. Get out to the draft party. Reserve your tickets to the draft party in the National Harbor immediately. This offseason, I wish I could live in it forever. As a long Washington fan, as a younger Washington fan, 32 years old, this feels like the most genuine startup we've ever had. And I'm kind of glad things played out the way they did under Dan Snyder. I'm very glad he never got to see actual success, because we probably would never have been able to get rid of the fucker had he won a Lombardi. Had he won a Lombardi, and it would definitely take some of the negativity that clouded him away, because unfortunately in this thing called life, you can be a nasty, nasty individual, but somehow in the game of sport, winning cures absolute all. And we may have been stuck with the Snyder bloodline for the rest of our lives had this dweeb little fucker found a way to win a Super Bowl. Ultimately, I've went through a lot of pain and heartache, disappointment and embarrassment over the years as a fan, but it was totally necessary for us to get to this point where we could actually have owners that proactively want to build a winning culture, a winning organization on and off the field. They want to get us a stadium we deserve. They want to return the team to the district. They want to hire the right people for the job. And what do you know? In one off season post Ron and Snyder, we got a GM and a coach to believe in. We're about to have a quarterback of the future to believe in, a totally different roster, a totally different mindset, rebuild, reset, recalibration. The story of the 2024 Washington Commanders. While this offseason has been phenomenal, while it's been fun, while it's been so much to talk about as a content creator, I'm never going to forget this offseason, because the traction, the absolute buzz we're getting from content this offseason, I wish I can live in it forever, to be perfectly honest. It does not mean this team has to be set up for success this season. Do not get it twisted. As fun as it's been, As much as I feel like our floor as a franchise has increased in 2024, give it time. Be patient with these guys and give it time. Do we need to give them the full 5 years? No, absolutely not. But do not expect some miraculous turnaround in 2024. Is it possible? Sure. Let that shit happen organically. We do not need to go into the season saying Washington needs to be the 2023 Houston Texans or Indianapolis Colts. That's unfair expectations, and it makes what they did last year look like a normal occurrence in this league. It's abnormal. It's a formality. It's an outlier. Rookie coaches / rookie quarterbacks don't just come in and take the league over by storm. And also, that is a completely different division they play in. That is not what we play in here with Philadelphia, Dallas, Washington, even the New York Giants here in the NFC East. Now that Hard Knocks is covering full divisions, how fucking cool would that be for the inaugural season of divisional Hard Knocks to be the most interesting division in all of football? The division with the loudest, passionate, dopest fan bases. Like, we can be all annoying and aggravating as hell. There's no division that collectively loves their teams like the NFC East loves our teams. What better to start this new format of Hard Knocks than giving the NFC East the Hard Knocks, so we can actually get some on-field, off-field access to how this reset in Washington's going, and look at how our divisional rivals, our enemies, are moving in the on and off season as well. I'm excited. I'm very excited to move forward. The draft cannot come any sooner. What's to come in the channel in April? Me, Tay Todd, Jalen, Alex, Zach, the boys, the group chat gang, my brothers. We're going to be doing our role play mock draft. I'll be getting that out there probably the week of the NFL draft. I'm going to do my content creator / fan / media draft predictions, where the day before the NFL draft, I'm going to drop a video of as many people as possible emailing me, Twitter DMing, and IG DMing me a clip of who they think the pick's going to be for the team. And then for the draft, nights 1 and 2 confirmed, I will be with my boys, and we will be live streaming our draft party, and live immediate reactions to every pick. Y'all saw us all down bad and reacting like we wanted to give up on life when we drafted Forbes last year. Come watch us in real time. Watch us melt down. Watch us cheer. Watch us go absolutely crazy for about 3 to 5 hours per stream. That's going to be a fun time. We're now a day away from April. It's the home stretch of the offseason. The draft's almost here. OTAs are here. It's time to celebrate, y'all. I've enjoyed this offseason with all of you guys. A couple more months to go, and then we're back to talking Washington Commanders on-field football again. I cannot wait. Until next time. Hell to the Washington Commanders. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts 25 days until the NFL draft, where you stand on the current quarterback position. If there's anything you want to talk about or I should talk about on the channel, drop it in the comments below. Until next time, Commander Rio, out.